yeah, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
The world's just changed so radically, and we're all running to catch up. How can we possibly have the slightest idea what to expect? The best intentions. Some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions.
Dr. Malcolm, you have shared your campfire stories with my uncle.
You can convince the Washington Post and the Skeptical Inquirer of whatever you want. But I was there, I know what happened, and so do you.
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
Hello, welcome to the August issue of Jurassic Minutes, where we discuss recent movie, toy and franchise news for the Jurassic series. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And on this episode, for this month, being a bumper news month, we got some stuff coming up for Dominion that we're going to talk about at the very end. Spoiler alert, we'll let you know when we get there. Mattel's gone up a gear and just pumping out new figures and repaints all over the place. And we finally get the cover art for the new Jurassic Park table book, the visual history that we're going to talk about as well, because there's been some changes there. But before we get that, David, what's new in the mail for this month?
Lots. I got the Camp Cretaceous counselor t-shirt that came in the mail from Etsy. It's basically just a pure replication of the shirt that Dave wears in the show. So it just has the pocket. It just has the pocket with the logo on the pocket there.
Yep.
And then I also got the Mattel Ford Explorer, which I added some detailing to make it a little bit more accurate, and it looks great. I really love how this thing looks. Kind of want to get a second one just to get the buy the sticker and add in the number 4. I mean the number 5.
Well, that's got to be a bare
again,
minimum.
4 is my lucky number. What?
Bare minimums to get at least 2. So you can just do that 4 and 5, and that's not including having one upside down broken that you can stand on and everything else in the tree.
I mean, I do have a bit of a Jurassic Jeep fleet forming here, so I mean, I've got 3 of those so far.
Why not?
Yeah, really. And then I got a Sue the T-Rex plushie when I was at the Field Museum.
Nice.
It's actually pretty nice sized. It's about the same size as the Jeannie Troden plushie from the live tour. Mm-hmm. But it was actually fairly well priced, so I kind of had to have it. And then this was something that took a while to track down, but it's the May 1999 issue of National Geographic magazine. And inside this magazine is a very early ad for Islands of Adventure, and it only ever appeared in this issue of this magazine. And a friend showed me the page, and I wasn't really. It hit me with a wall of nostalgia, but neither of us could remember exactly which National Geographic issue it came from. So I ended up going to the Chicago Public Library and searching through all the issues between 1999 and 1996 that would use this imagery. And the cool thing about it is it's like a IOA/Dodge advertisement. I don't know why these two got together.
Yeah, that's odd.
But they did. I know, it's weird. It's for a red Dodge Caravan mixed with Islands of Adventure. And it's got like the T-Rex and the Raptors and Spider-Man and all the Universal characters. There was an Islands of Adventure, but it also is positioned over a Dodge Caravan.
And a red one too. When you posted those photos up online, I mentioned I had one of those, but like the dark jungle green version. That okay, maybe you're amping up, head off for adventure or whatever else, but not in a bright red one.
Yeah, it is strange. And then finally, the last thing I've gotten this month was the Nanmu Stegosaurus, the jungle variant or whatever they call it, the plane, but the one that looks like the one from the Lost World, and it looks really, really good. It's 1/35th scale, and it's got all the details in there. Perfect sculpt. About the same height as the Papo Stegosaurus, but much better proportioned.
I've been seeing some photos of that. It's a fantastic looking figure.
Yeah, it is. Definitely worth the money.
Yeah. Over on my side, just after we record last month's minutes, the Amber Collection, Ray and Ellie turned up, and they're fantastic. Can't fault them. Managed to pick up the Camp Cretaceous capture Stegosaurus. Unfortunately, in that Lost World, in that Jurassic World design, but you last month you had the Tyrannosaur. I'm not a big fan. I don't mind the capture gear. I just love that there was more of that realistic looking cage design implemented in it instead of just being almost play school plastic, all one colour.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, you gotta admit it kind of is. I'm just kind of happy just to have the capture gear back, and I'm expecting Mattel to kind of do better. I mean, you gotta remember that this was a kind of a rush year for them just because Dominion got pushed back because of COVID, so they had to put all this new product rushed right out the door real fast just because they had to have something in between in that 1 year gap that they weren't prepared for.
Yeah, and especially also it's the 9th or 10th Tyrannosaur that they're expecting people to buy just because it's got the capture gear when they're not really putting a lot of effort into that capture gear. The Stegosaurus one, it barely tabs together, and it's not the best, and I don't know anyone to actually keep it. It's probably the first thing to get thrown in the bin out of all the pieces. But another thing we discussed when we seen the leaked images of the Scorpius Rex and even the toy form of the Scorpius Rex, I wasn't going to get it, but I got it. It was in a 2-pack with Kenji and the Gyrosphere, and I just thought, yeah, I gotta get that. So picked that up. It has all the fantastic range of movement in the shoulders and the arms to get it in those weird poses like it was in the cartoon. So plus again that derpy hatchet face, the jaw, the skull and the little jaw on it, catch it perfectly in the toy. So was happy to get that. And lastly, which will take us into our first news story, is the drop and pop bumpy, which is a cute. I think last month you were talking about the plushie, the bumpy plushie that you picked up. This is my new favourite figure from Mattel, being the little baby bumpy inside an egg that you just drop it on the ground, the egg cracks open, and there she is.
It is really cute. I mean, definitely Bumpy is being the Baby Yoda for Jurassic World.
Yeah. And
we're finally starting to see some plushie merch. So yeah, this one's got you said, bop it on the bottom and the egg pops open. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the concept that they had for the first 2 movies from Kenner with the dinosaurs and the egg.
Yeah, but them being more of a realistic infant in there, where you got the stylised, the big eyes, the big smile on Bumpy here. They've also made a blue that's come out in the line as well. Same thing. All the photos we're looking here, courtesy of Collect Jurassic, were from the start of the month, and all of a sudden they're here at my local stores now. Unfortunately, the T-Rex and the Explorer hasn't. I'm hearing September, October, and online only, which I'm hoping isn't true. But again, just more of these figures that are being released or announced at the start of the month, and I'm getting my hands on them by the end of the month. So I didn't get the baby blue. I just stuck with Bumpy for this time.
Congratulations, player. I'm Mr. DNA, and you're the first person to ever beat our game. So we want to reward you with a trip to Jurassic World's brand new state-of-the-art adventure camp. That's right. Get ready to join us at Camp Cretaceous.
Grand? Mom?
Moving on next, we got some Camp Cretaceous figures coming out from Mattel. First up, we got another baby Brachiosaurus. We haven't had one since the original toy line. I don't
think so either. No.
Yeah, the one in Jurassic Park 3 was just a small adult one. It wasn't the juvenile, but that original one was paired up with Tim in the cage, and this one, I know there is a 2-pack with someone, but the photo we got here is just the baby Brachiosaurus by itself.
Yes, this one I really want to search for and find, because, I mean, it's only featured briefly in the 3rd season of Camp Cretaceous, but it is very adorable.
I'd love to just have 1 or 2 of these with me legacy Brachiosaurus. It would look fantastic. Maybe a little fake tree that's baby height and not mum height. So they're coming along. Next up, we've got the dangerous herbivores, the Ouransaurus. That's what you say that. You say it properly.
It's the Ouransaurus, and I'm not so hot on this particular figure.
It's part of their raw attack line. You got the little lever there, and the head attacks, bobs up and down.
But I really think they could have found a better spot to put that switch that they have, because it's right there on the side of the sail. And it's kind of obnoxious being in the spot that it's in. I mean, I know that it's meant for your hand so that you put it when you hold it, you can move the switch. But I really think they would have been better if they could put it on the stomach or something, you know?
Well, it's similar with the Stegosaurus. It's got 2 bony plates above the shoulders. You pretty much got to hold it by the head and the front legs and maneuver the bony plates forward to get the rear hindquarters and the tail to swing. And it's just... the playability is really awkward with it. At least the plates being moving, they're sort of hidden as plates for the most part, so it doesn't stand out as bad as what this does. But it doesn't look the best, that being there. But on the positive side, I do love the colours and the paint they've put on it. From the blue to the beak all the way through the yellow, different coloured yellows on the belly.
Yeah, the color is very nice, and it's pretty accurate to the show. So
yeah, yep.
I was gonna say, I remember when the pictures for this first came out, they were kind of like really blurry and upscaled small pictures, and like all the details and stuff were washed out, and the colors were washed out. A lot of fans were kind of afraid that that Mattel was slipping a bit with the detailing and the printing and the colors, but I think it looks just as good as anything else.
Yeah.
And again, the switch kind of bothers me, but it's at the same time electronic. So finding a place to put that switch plus the electronics is kind of difficult, you know?
Yeah, well, the sail on its back's rather narrow, so they wouldn't have been able to put it up there.
Yeah.
Just having a look back too with the baby Brachiosaurus, it's a Darius with binoculars that comes with that, even though it's a little bit different coloured.
Yeah, that's what I thought of.
Yeah. Not seeing that packaging though, so not sure what's going on there.
With the best intentions, some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions.
Also, Mattel's releasing a whole heap of repaints. There's a grey Ceratosaurus. We're getting another Allosaurus, much like the Camp Battle Big Rock colours. The not Stegosaurus, the big spikes on the shoulders. Not up with the name.
Oh, the Kentrosaurus?
That's the one. Reuse of the plesiosaur head and neck on some sort of cat body. That light blue one.
Tennistrephius, which fans of the original Kenner line will remember was part of the original Kenner line. It's a small reptile, kind of like a pseudo. It was like closer to lizards than it was to dinosaurs, but it was a I think Jurassic or Triassic or something like that. But they did this boy dirty. I mean, this thing is just hideous.
Yeah, yep. Because they've done that. I know there's a lot of comments about the orange cat-like thing with the horns on its head too.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that's supposed to be. More Raptor repaints. One interesting one is the I'll say Archaeopteryx, but I don't think it is the chicken-looking one. We discussed a couple or a little while ago, if we're going to see feathers on Mattel Figures going into Dominion, this is probably a good representation of what we're going to see feather-wise on their toys going forward, just that moulded plastic look.
Yeah. I'm basically expecting that look in Dominion for whatever feather dinosaurs we get. Maybe some sculpted wing feathers if we get that far in Dominion.
Yeah, yep. Also, there's been some sightings of a Pantoceratops. No, Pantoceratops.
Mm-hmm.
If I got that correct. Apparently, one went up online. Maybe it was a production run or something. There have been some leaks out of Evolution 2, I think, that we're going to be getting a figure of a Noceratopsian as well, with those big curved horns above the eyes.
You're missing the star, though, here, the Shringosaurus, or as I like to call him, Zool.
Zool. That's the one. I thought it looked like a devil dog.
It does.
Yeah.
It's an early Triassic Indian archosaur, so it's like tangentially related. It's the same family as dinosaurs and pterosaurs and marine reptiles and all them, but yeah, this thing has got definite devil dog look going on.
So yeah, they're all more figures coming out from Mattel. A lot of repaints, a couple of new figures in there. And up next we have Sound Surge, Tyrannosaurus and Carnotaurus. Another T-Rex. Another T-Rex with electronics.
Yeah. These are their kind of, if anybody remembers during Fallen Kingdom, they had those 12-inch long basic figures that were basically minimal paint, minimal articulation, minimal detail. These are those, but with electronics, kind of just a little bit something to add to the gimmick, and it looks like a little bit better articulation. The mouths didn't even move on those other figures.
Oh, wow.
So these will be interesting to collect.
Yeah, you did say before limited paint, like Rexy's jaws, all that one tan colour, even a teeth, and tongue's the same colour as well. So the basic paint on them, but at least the sculpt's there. So, and the Toro looks good too.
Yeah, I might pick up the Toro one. Then again, we'll see. I mean, it'll probably be more one of those things that are, if it looks good in person, you know.
Yeah.
What's to say here at the airport? Hammond's not even here?
He sends his apologies.
We are facing a $20 million lawsuit by the family of that worker, and you're telling me that Hammond can't even bother to see me?
Moving on, bit of a quick update on Amber Collection, the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptor in packaging, and it looks fantastic. I cannot wait to get this.
It does. I really cannot. This thing looks so amazing.
It might be one to get a second one just to keep in the box because it looks good in the box like that. I still haven't collected any of the Raptors from the Amber Collection line. This will be the first one, definitely.
I'm kind of hoping they do the females so this one's not so fish out of water, because the other ones I have the female, the male, the Lost World male and the Echo, but I kind of turned her into another Lost World male because she's got those colors for it. Yep. So I'm really hoping they end up doing the female, so this guy is not just like you stuck with all these feral raptors around him.
Well, we've had the Pteranodon already. We've got this raptor. I don't think it'd be too hard to guess that they're going to keep on delivering some of the Jurassic Park 3 stuff, and we will get another version painted. Moving on, before we get to the elephant in this article, Mattel Amber Collections also released some compies, not the little single-coloured moulded compies we've got with some of the legacy figures to date. These are proper large free pack of compies.
Well, I believe they're going to be sold with the baby T-Rex, which I have lots of issues with.
It's part of the article as well, so let's talk about that fat baby.
It is. The sculpt is very much there. It's sculpturally pretty sound, except for the feet, which are like really narrowed, and the arms, which are really giant. And I understand they did that to fit all the articulation in that they could, but they really could have shrank that down.
Yeah.
And the color, that's the elephant you mentioned, I think, right?
Yeah, it's almost like someone mixed the colours up and put the compy colours on the baby and the baby colours on the compies, because the compies are sort of that more darker green with the beige bellies, where, yeah, the baby, it's that lime, real bright green with some darker green stripes.
Yeah, it's like, trying to think of what color green, like it's like a true kind of grass green color, like bright grass green.
Yep.
And it's does not look good. It's not flattering. It's just kind of almost makes it look worse than what it actually is, you know?
Yeah.
And the compies, I mean, they're not free from criticism either. They do look good. I like the color. I think they look good. But I think that they, one, could have had more articulation for their size, and two, the bottom jaw is just a little strong for my taste. I mean, it's kind of got this, it's almost the same width as, it's not bad. It's not nearly as bad as the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Baby T-Rex.
Yeah, it's just a shame they mix the colours up. Didn't do a proper job on it. Of course, it comes with Nick's belt and the cast for its leg as well, which seems to be removable, so it's not like the original Lost World Baby T-Rex that cast was on there. Oh no, it wasn't. It clipped over the leg as well, so yeah.
Yeah, that one with it had like a little peg that stuck into the side of the leg at the joint.
Yeah.
Where the leg pulled apart so that it kind of looked like his leg was showing broken bone.
Mm. Yeah, that little bit of elastic in the knee joint that has snapped on a couple of my figures, unfortunately. I don't know if I'll pick this up. As I said, I've got the original one. It's unfortunate that it's packed with the compies. It might be just a one-off if I can get it for cheap enough.
Mm.
Moving on with the Amber collection, we have our newest human character, Robert Muldoon. A couple of heads, a couple of arms, his hat up, of course, and comes with a shock prod and not a Spaz 12, which I know some people have been complaining about.
That's an odd choice. I'm not completely opposed to it because, I mean, the shock prod is still relevant, but the Spaz 12 would have been a much better selling point. I don't know why they didn't have that. But yeah, I do like the facial sculpts. The serious one looks more like him, but I think the other one with the wide eyes is meant more to be the clever girl moment, where it'll allow you to recreate that moment just without the Spaz 12. But yeah, I mean, I do like this figure. I will probably end up picking this one up. I like that the hat's removable. That's cool. The only problem I have with it is, like, the hat should be tan, and so should the shorts. They definitely got the short shorts right, sculpturally, but the shorts are gray when they're supposed to be khaki.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, looking at some of the photos here, whether the colours were off. Maybe the final product. I think when you have a look at the one that's in box, the colours look a bit different. Not so much that dark grey to blue, so...
Yeah, the one in box has all the right colors, which is kind of strange. It's almost like they took the paint proto and took the pictures of it out of the box, but stuck the final in the box, because the final has the right color shirt, right color vest, right color shorts, right color hat.
Yep.
Whereas the other one almost kind of looks like they stuck the Owen Grady body on a pair of gray shorts. I mean, like, they got the knee socks right. That's right. But
that's the important thing.
But yeah, the inbox looks like it's the final, versus the out-of-box pictures looks like it's a proto of some sort.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I was going to look at some photos of that Owen Grady and see if it's the same vest or not, because I wouldn't put it past Mattel to just repaint that to keep some costs down. But yeah, it's a fantastic looking figure. I cannot wait to get him and add him to the rest of the crew. And even now, a lot of Collect Jurassic, a lot of the diorama accounts online, and that we've got Ellie, got Malcolm, got Hammond. Being able to recreate scenes from the movie just looks fantastic. Whether it's in the emergency bunker, whether it's in the control room, especially when you've got Nedra as well, and Arnold and the computer monitors as well. Just it's a very good time to be a fan and a collector.
It is. Though with the addition of Muldoon, I'm really hoping that we end up getting eventually Roland Tembo, because one, he's a fan favorite, and the Amber Collection is a fan-focused line, and two, he needs the shotgun. Come on now. Give him the elephant rifle.
Yeah, well, just thinking, it's really only Gennaro and Harding, really, that we don't have for Jurassic now. Well, you could use the kids from the Explorer set if you want to fill the kids in, but we've pretty much got all the other characters from the film.
I'm wondering if likeness rights are an issue with some of those. Like with Martin Ferrero, I wonder if he's not big on the likeness rights for action figures.
Mm.
Then again, I mean, really, when you think about it, who wants Gennaro? I mean, what are they going to do? Mega lawsuit action. Comes with briefcase.
Well, it'd be the Dominion Republic Ambermine, really, the suit and the briefcase bag satchel thing he's carrying when he goes on the raft.
Yeah.
Or a sun hat and shorts when he's on island. Yeah, no, I was just thinking, because if there's only one or two characters left there and they want to keep the line going, then surely going to the other films, The Lost World especially, or even Jurassic Park 3 with our Kirby figures, there's more room for them to go to, and surely they'd have to look at some of those characters and get them out.
And they've already started delving into Jurassic Park 3 and The Lost World with these latest releases, so I'm expecting more to eventually appear.
Yeah. They've spent the last couple of years doing the Jurassic Park stuff, and now give the rest of the film fans what we want.
Who's hurt? What do you need?
We need rope.
Rope? What? Anything else?
Yeah, 3 double cheeseburgers with everything.
No onions on mine.
I don't know if they'll turn it over.
Up next, something I didn't think I wanted, but really do. Rubik's Cube is releasing a Jurassic Park themed Rubik's Cube with looks like there's some concept art and that sort of stuff on some of the sides.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because looking at the one picture here, of course they've got the classic Raptor and T-Rex combo, and then they've got a Brachiosaurus plus it looks like a mosquito and amber in front of that in the gates in the background, the classic logo, and it looks like the Lost World, one of the Lost World Raptors.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, and of course they've got Rob Miranda's Dilophosaurus on there. Somebody must have stuck that in a file folder because Rob Miranda, he's a fan who a lot of people probably know him as Yankee T-Rex from Jurassic Park Legacy and DeviantArt and other places. But he did this older sculpt of the Dilophosaurus, and it's been appearing it appeared in the Legacy shop in artwork in one of the hallways, and it looks like it appears here too.
Nice.
So yeah, Universal getting lazy here and taking from the fans.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dilophosaurus stuff going around at the moment from some recent news, but we'll get to that a little bit later. I don't know how much. If like some of the other stuff, this is only a $5-10 item. I'll definitely pick it up. And we only see 3 sides from 2 of them. Well, I'm guessing it's the same one, but from both sides, and not two different ones. So
yeah.
Here we see the six sides of art.
Yeah,
interesting there. That Lost World Raptor in the jungle there. That's something different.
Mm-hmm. I actually might pick this up. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. Availability.
Oh,
price.
no, it looks like I just noticed the other side that that I didn't mention was the looks like it's a T-Rex skull and then a Raptor skull underneath that.
Yeah, it's all that black and white sketch. When I first seen it, I thought it was that classic T-Rex in the jungle, one leg up in the air, about to turn and attack. But obviously not. You can see the skulls there.
Look at this workstation. What a complete slump.
The raptor fences aren't out, are they?
No, they're still on.
Why the hell would you turn the other ones off?
Moving on, we've been talking a bit about the Jurassic Park Ultimate Visual History tabletop book that's coming along. They've recently announced or posted up the photo of what the front cover is going to be, using some classic artwork that we've seen, concept art from the original Jurassic Park, although slightly changed.
Yeah, not for the better. They really should have left that art alone because it's scary. And I mean, not in like the good kind of way. It's like kind of legitimately terrifying because Grant looks like he's grabbing after Lex and while dragging along Tim. But Lex looks like they've transplanted Grant's face onto her. And Tim looks like he's 35, but in the body of a 10-year-old.
Wow, I did not see that until now, and now I don't want to see it ever again.
I'm really hoping this ends up being a dust cover, and it's removable.
Yeah. I did not notice that. I know, because obviously they have changed the faces to look more like the actors in the final film. That original concept art looks nothing like any of the actors, but the same, I suppose the same sort of feeling here of Grant going after Tim and dragging Lex by the hand because of the age swap.
Well, I mean, it looks like Lex and Tim are absolutely terrified, but not of the T-Rex that's chasing them. Because Grant has this just demented look on his face, like he's got murder on his mind.
Yeah. Mm. Well, especially I've got the original concept art up here. That original concept art, it does you can see the fear in his face, not the pure anger that looks like in Grant's face, especially with those big eyebrows that Sam Neill doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know Outpost talked on their latest episode about the original one looking like Harrison Ford, because obviously he was in the lineup to play Grant back then, but I don't see Harrison Ford in that either. It almost looks like bloody, not Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen. I thought Charlie Sheen sort of. Yeah.
I mean, it does kind of look like generic action hero, but it's definitely not Sam Neill. That's the thing. And as you said, Lex and Tim are both their respective novel accurate ages versus here where, I mean, in the revised art where it's their movie ages.
Yeah, looking at Tim here, I just think of Burt Ward, played Robin in the 66 Batman, but he was like 38 or something.
Who?
I know the Simpsons have a gag about it when he's doing the Jimmy Jellicas on a convention or something.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Don't know, and that's the fear now. If they've changed the concept art for the cover of the book, what have they done to other concept art that they might have in this book as well? If they've made subtle changes here and there to make it more film focused.
I'm pretty sure that it's just the cover art. I don't imagine that they'd go changing other concept art.
And I didn't realise either, it's not just the faces they've changed too, it's actually the costumes in that to make it look like the characters as well.
Yeah, because in the concept art, it's much more novel, much closer to the novel, and of course Grant's wearing a Hawaiian shirt as he was described in the novel, versus in the movie he's wearing a denim shirt. Yep.
Plus, even the colours of the shot, like it's a lot. The original ones, you've got a lot sharper, a lot more of them greens for the jungle. The Tyrannosaur looks a lot better. Where here, they sort of just cropped out most of the art and dulled it down a little bit. So
yeah, I'm expecting that they'll probably end up with the original art somewhere in the book. You know?
Maybe on the inside, the front cover, just an acknowledgement or something.
Yeah,
with a picture. But
it's funny because it's kind of the Jurassic Park's Monkey Jesus moment. I'm not sure if anybody remembers that from several years ago, where the woman horribly restored a fresco of Jesus, and it ended up looking more like a monkey than Jesus.
Yeah, criticisms aside, I've pre-ordered this.
Yeah, I have too.
I think October it's due, so not long to wait now. I'm sure there may be some online people that'll be getting this sooner to review, and we might be able to get some tidbits on what it actually contains. But I cannot wait for that.
Mm-hmm.
It says InJet on the side of that chopper. I don't get that. Why would Hammond send 2 teams?
And lastly, on the figure news before we move on, the Legacy Apatosaurus is finally coming to retail. I'll say internationally, only because it was only released in UK, but I know the US is getting it. I'm hoping that means Target Australia is going to get it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this thing is huge. Like you said, the UK has gotten it, but only the UK, and it is now reaching, I guess, the rest of the market. And it was put on the Target website. I was able to pick it up for pre-order. I'm not sure about you, but yeah, I'm really excited for this figure.
I haven't checked Amazon Australia for it yet. If I can find it somewhere, I will get it, just because availability is going to be light on it. But I've still got nowhere to put it.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I've seen it next to the Brachiosaurus. It's almost bigger than the Brachiosaurus. Of course, not as tall, but definitely longer.
Yay. more shelf space taken up.
I have no idea where I'm putting it. It was really an impulse buy because I wanted it.
Well, the impulse buy, I picked up 2 of the Legacy Brachiosaurs and the Super Colossal Blue. One of the Brachiosaurs in blue is still wrapped up in the garbage bag from layaway and in the shed, because I've got nowhere to put it. They're staying in box. This is probably the same thing, just until I finally get me collection space worked out and get some displays up.
Yeah, I lucked out with the T-Rex, where I was able to find a way to remove the tail, and still not without like destroying it. So I have it stored with the tail separate. Mm-hmm. Versus Blue, where I couldn't do that with, and she's just taking up like half of the entire top shelf of my closet.
Cooper, if you see anything, yell up.
No, I thought I'd keep it to myself.
Moving on, we've talked a bit about Jurassic World Evolution 2 and some of the reskinning they're doing for that. We've got a new pre-order trailer that's come up, featuring much of what we've already seen before, reskin G-Wagons, all that sort of stuff into the US Parks and Wildlife vehicles, even though they wouldn't use G-Wagons. they'd have probably F-Trucks and Rams and that sort of thing for over in America. But one interesting thing at the very end of the trailer, we get to see Rexy in... I'll call it a homage to Jurassic Park San Diego, because unless the Wasteland Mad Max has happened, it's out in the middle of the desert.
I think that's more of just a way of showcasing it, because if they put it on the waterfront, you're gonna it's gonna be a lot more obvious that it's in the middle of a city, and then they have to put not actual gameplay on the bottom of the screen, you know?
Well, yeah, a lot of the shots we do get in the trailer are of sort of your more natural, deserty, foresty locations, not so much your tropical and green that you get on the island. So obviously they're going for a lot different look there. A lot more of what we might be seeing in Dominion, with just animals out in the open. Out in the countryside, so.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be what they're going for.
Yeah. As for the use of Jurassic Park San Diego, whether that's a tie into Dominion? ? I think I hinted to you that maybe we might see a ruined park in Dominion somewhere. But yeah, as you said, it's probably just been turned into a Walmart or something by now. Especially with InGen not being around anymore, that waterfront complex would be quite expensive, quite valuable, and has probably been sold off.
Mm-hmm. It's even interesting, though, because Jurassic Park San Diego was something, it was meant to be kind of like away from the city, but still viewable from the city. Whereas here, it's just like out in the middle of the desert, which, like you said, is probably a showcase for something we'll end up seeing in Dominion, because I do remember the ending montage for Fallen Kingdom showing the truck with the Allosaurus on it driving by Monuments National Park in, I think, Arizona or Utah or something like that.
And it wouldn't be hard for a bison, someone that wanted to profiteer off the animals, also purchasing that land from an InGen sale to use for that purpose. So whether it looks the same, obviously, I'm guessing it's just a asset of the park, that amphitheater that you can either put in whatever your park landscape is going to be. It's just an asset, much like your lab and all that other stuff that you can build in world as your park mechanics. But also, it does a little bit different. It doesn't have that undercover caged area at the back of the amphitheater where the baby Tyrannosaur was being held.
Yeah, that it doesn't have like any of the surrounding. It's just the amphitheater.
Yeah. So maybe it's just something you can build in your park, and then you can build the infrastructure around it, all customised, of course, for different ways to show it. So it'll be interesting. It's not something that's going to get me to race out and buy it day one. I think, as we talked last time, we talked Evolution. No time to play the first one, let alone the second one, even with the Return to Jurassic Park expansion pack they had for that game.
Yeah.
Is this going to make you buy it?
Probably not. I mean, I didn't really play the first one, so...
Yeah. Yep.
I did notice that Geosternbergia was among the new animals in the game, so that'll be interesting because we haven't really gotten much attention to that particular animal since The Lost World.
Which again could be a little clue that maybe it's coming back. We're going to get some sort of reference to it in Dominion.
Well, they also had it as a plushie recently, released at Target in the Lost World colors to boot.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, I never thought I'd see that again.
Yeah, because now's a very interesting time where Dominion should have been out. Some merchandising's been made for it, and there's been leaks on, again, party plates and that sort of thing of animals that are going to be in Dominion that, much like the Indominus leak for Jurassic World, we talked last time with Evolution 2, maybe there's assets in that are in the game because they're used or seen in Dominion, but because it's been delayed, some of those assets may have been pushed to a future DLC or something to not leak what's coming up for Dominion. So, yeah, time will tell.
Mr. Hammond knew this before he ever dreamt of an island. He began construction on an amphitheater, very near to where you're sitting right now at the InGen waterfront complex. But he abandoned it in favor of something far grander and ultimately impossible. And so the facility sits unused, unfinished, when it could be completed and ready to receive visitors in less than a month.
Moving to some movie news briefly. David, you found an interesting photo of a Unimog with the InGen logo on it, and feel it's a possible third Unimog used for The Lost World that we haven't really seen.
Yeah, I found this on some web, I think Eurotech.com or something like that. It was weird, but it was basically hosting a sales page for a bunch of old Unimogs, and this one was labeled as a 96 Unimog used in The Lost World. And it doesn't really say specifically The Lost World, it just says used in Spielberg production. So, okay. I mean, it's kind of vague enough to where if you know, you know, but at the same time, it's kind of vague enough to where it's like, did they just slap a decal on there and try to sell it as, or what? You know? Because it doesn't have any of the other modifications the other InGen vehicles had. It just has an old, faded yellow engine decal on the front door.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a dual cab Unimog variant. It's almost like a like what we got with Jurassic World with your modular fiberglass veterinary or something pod put on the back of it. And as you said, yeah, there's no bars in the windows, nothing else to make it look like it was used in the roundup sequences. It's not really the same colour paint either.
No.
Whether it's faded or been resprayed, but if it was resprayed, then obviously the logo's been put back on, because it's not just that plain white square logo of InGen that we see in the film, but more of a 3D, looks like a 3D grey one anyway, much like the website had. But
yeah, I mean the color is more like a pine green versus the olive drab green of the movie vehicles too.
But even the location, like those pine trees in the background, you could think this is on the roundup sequence on that range, or that ranch. It is a mystery because we only know of the other two Unimogs that we used.
And you could identify those in the movie, and there's behind the scenes material for them and all kinds of stuff. This has got nothing.
It is a mystery. We'll post the photo up on the Facebook page when this episode goes up, but yeah, maybe someone out there's seen something of it around the travels. One more little bit of movie news. Like we discussed last minute, that Jake Johnson was still trying to get back on Dominion. Well, that's over now. Due to COVID, of course. Apparently he did have a role written into Dominion, but because he couldn't get... I don't think he could get back to the UK to film at Pinewood, so he's unfortunately been written out of the film. So
that's a shame.
It makes me wonder how big his role is, if it's going to be noticeable that his role's just written out of the film completely.
I'm thinking that it was probably minor enough to where it won't majorly affect the movie, you know? Because he really didn't have that huge of a role, and anything that he would have had could have been rewritten for Franklin anyway, you know?
Well, Franklin's in Dominion, isn't he?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so we've already got a techie. If it was just a role in a room or something behind a computer, then there's no reason why you'd have to go to Pinewood to film that. They could have done it stateside. Or hey, how about you just give Anna Richards a call and get her in the room behind a computer and use her as the hacker, so we can get a Lex cameo back in Dominion. But unfortunately, it's not going to be Jake Johnson.
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
Oh, this? I got it on eBay. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I got it for $150, but the mint condition one goes for $300.
Didn't occur to you maybe that's in poor taste?
The shirt? Yeah, no, it did. I understand people died. It was terrible, but that first park was legit. You know, I have a lot of respect for it. They didn't need these genetic hybrids. They just needed dinosaurs, real dinosaurs. That's kind of enough.
Please don't wear it again.
Yeah, wasn't gonna.
All right, so that's the end of the news for August. We're going to go on and talk about the footage that was shown at Cinemacon now, which is heavily spoilers for Dominion. So if you do not want to listen to that, thanks for listening. We'll post up links and everything on the Facebook page and in the show notes on the podcast episode when it goes live this week. Dave, Cinemacon. I didn't know it was happening. I thought most of these conventions have been... well, it's a trade show, isn't it?
It basically is, yes. It's like something for the studios to show off for each other more than to show off for fans. It's not really a fan con. It's more of a, like I said, a trade show. They show investors and stuff, proof of concept and stuff like that. That's what basically this video was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the straight trailer, which I honestly don't see coming out until November. This seemed more to be just random clips.
Yeah, and I know it's been mentioned a couple of times online in places. I don't really see this footage being released online. I thought the the trailer, the teaser from the Fast and Furious would have been released officially online, but
I would have hoped that it would have been 2, but at the same time, the last I've heard, Trevorrow wasn't even sure if he was going to keep that in the final cut of the movie, so that probably affects the decision of it being released or not.
Yep. So the article we've got up here is from Gizmodo. They had someone there, obviously, I think, going over what was in the trailer. Again, spoilers. If you do not want to know anything about Dominion, now's the time to switch off. You have been warned. Apparently the footage opens with some behind-the-scenes footage of Steven Spielberg back in '93 holding Hammond's cane, obviously on set there somewhere. And again, we know that sort of that cane, that amber, the mozzie in the amber is going to be a bit of a through point for Dominion, and we got that in the logo too, with the T-Rex logo on the amber.
Well, not only that, but now that we also got a full logo in the amber style.
Yep. But the next we get to see a pair of Brachiosaurs being led by a bunch of vehicles in what looked like a snow-covered quarry. We've seen that quarry before, filmed over at Pinewood with I think that rescue planes there as well with the main three, but interesting, we got some Brachiosaurs being led by vehicles. I don't even know what to think of that.
I'm thinking they're probably being rounded up by biocin agents.
Or even the Parks and Rec, or whatever they are. Again, big animals like that, as long as you had vehicles sort of surrounding on three sides, they're going to go for the one way that doesn't have a vehicle in front of in its way, so it's not going to be a fast roundup like we see in the Lost World.
No, it's not just going to be like a basically a roundup for just catch whatever we can. They're specifically trying to go after certain individual animals that have gotten out since Lockwood and might even be breeding at this point.
Yep. And then later there's also a shot of Owen riding his motorcycle in that snow setting, trying to chase down some animals as well, so...
Maybe not biocin. Maybe it is what you said. It's that containment unit thing, and Owen might be leading it.
Yeah, because remember at the end of Dominion, him and Claire were dead set about not releasing animals. It was Maisie that pushed the button. So he, I could see Owen sort of not wanting these animals out in the loose. Especially the toothed variety.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you'd also want to have somebody who's worked with these animals before helping you round them up, especially Owen, because he's a behaviorist and would know how these animals operate, you know?
Suddenly it's come to my mind just a scene from Jaws where they've opened up the bounty on the shark and you've got everyone out there trying to catch the shark. And
yes, exactly. That's what they want to avoid.
Yeah. Yet you've got the main antagonist going to see Quint because he's the expert shark catcher. Whereas here again, you'd have ranchers, you'd have all sorts of people that maybe are good with livestock. Even though it would be funny seeing some country folk on horses trying to round up a stegosaur or a trike and just getting knocked off their horse.
We know from Camp Cretaceous that those ranching skills don't always universally apply.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting. We get some scenes of Ellie Sattler, Laura Dern, of course, trapped in a cage, reminiscent of the one from the beginning of the first film. Okay, and water is pouring in. That's an interesting one. I don't know if that's supposed to mean, yes, it looks just like the one from the first movie, or if it's just...
One actually from the first movie? Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what to think of that yet.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of the Jurassic Park 3 shooting script where you have Alan looking through a very familiar looking window in the Suburban that's supposed to link back to the raptor coming through at Malcolm in the Lost World, where we know that's completely different. locations, cars, characters, everything. But if it is meant to be the same sort of raptor cage we get in the first Jurassic Park, is it a clue to Sauna? Obviously, they'd have to have some of those cages stacked up behind the lab on Sauna if they're using them to transport animals to Nublar. But then, I'm pretty sure from everything we know, even after Sauna was introduced, that raptor in the cage wasn't coming from Sauna. It was coming from its main raptor paddock back to the holding pen, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think that was... It's pretty much always been assumed, because Sauna wasn't a thing at the time, that it was being moved from its home paddock to the pen.
Yeah, and we've got the dialogue from Muldoon saying that the big one went in and killed them all, and they had to bring them back and feed them by hand here in the pen.
Mm-hmm.
If that original raptor come from the cage from Sauna and not from the original raptor paddock, then Grant finding the nest makes no sense if there was no raptors in that paddock to start with, unless you go back to the novel where, well, there's just wild raptors running around. And it's not, even though they went through the raptor pen on their walk back to the visitor centre, we just didn't see it. Yeah, it throws a whole heap of things in the air. But you mentioned off mic as well that it might be possibly reminiscing of Dodgson and Sarah on the boat, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just... We've got a change of character, because unfortunately Julianne Moore's not coming back. So Dodgson's going to try and kill Ellie because she's getting too close or something.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
I was thinking that, definitely, yeah. I'm pretty much counting on Dodgson being the ruthless bastard he is in the novels in Dominion. So yeah, I'm definitely expecting some ruthlessness shown towards our characters.
Especially if they're there to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird that if he's sort of your Steve Jobs, head of CEO of a company, yes, he was probably a bit bloodthirsty to get to that spot in a company like Bison. But I don't know if you'd have your... Well, yeah, maybe you'd have a Jeff Bezos or someone that would do the same thing. So,
no, I mean, like, Dodgson was
Elon
known...
Musk.
In the novel, he was part of Bison's, what was it, their corporate espionage unit, basically, where he would go in and he would steal trade secrets and replicate them in a way that got around copyright. And I mean, like, he would do shit like he would test the ripoff on like unsuspecting villagers in third world countries.
It's probably a good thing we haven't seen much of him in the film, so they can pretty much do whatever they want with the character now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, make it more of that novel focused. And then of course, Ellie in a cage sinking. My other thought went back to Jurassic Park 3, and we're going to get a reversal. Instead of Alan in the cage being attacked by something, it's going to be Ellie calling out for help on the Riverside B or what have you. There's a bit of a mirrored and a callback to Jurassic Park 3 there, but apparently there's also a shot of her in a very sunny, well-lit lab. Unsure if that's going to be the lab we've seen in that production still or not, or if it's going to be someone, maybe a Bison lab.
Mm-hmm.
Being well lit, very sunny. I don't think that's going to be an abandoned sauna lab or anything.
No. I don't know, but you never know. I just don't think Sorna's going to appear in this movie, but I may be eating my words a couple months from now. And then by this time next year.
I'll put Ketchup all over my hat and eat it. I don't really want Sorna to be anywhere near these new films, but we'll see. Of course, we get the Mosasaurus from the teaser we've seen jumping up and eating the crab boat, the crabs in the cage from the teaser. Then we get a Dilophosaur scream and unleash its mane. So confirmation that the Dilophosaur will be having a cameo at least in Dominion. I just hope they release or make known more publicly the cutscene on the Arcadia where Dilophosaur was seen on the boat getting off Nublar. Just so you haven't got, that wasn't in Fallen Kingdom, or how to get off the island, all that sort of stuff you see online.
For all we know, he could have snuck aboard, you know?
Yeah. And it's still never really been confirmed one way or another if that was the only one they had on the island.
Mm-hmm.
If this is going to be the same one, I can see Colin coming out. Oh, yeah, that was his first. That's the same Dilophosaur date, Dennis Nedry. Of course it was.
Well, from what I've heard from some sources, they've said that it's a completely different looking Dilophosaurus, but from what I've heard, it's basically the exact same look that we've always had.
And there have been some leaked images, or people have been talking about and either an animatronic or a prop stand-in being seen on sets for Dominion as well. So
yeah, and that was a very complex animatronic. I mean, it's got like all the tubing and stuff, just like any of the Raptors from the second and third movie animatronics. So it's definitely built for complex movements. I wouldn't imagine it would be something quite for the exhibition, which basically always uses these kind of repetitious movements for the animatronics. Maybe the live tour, but I don't see them adding anything. The only other possibility I would think would be Dominion.
Yeah. Although it's a fan favourite, I don't see any of those new productions bringing something like that on, especially since it hasn't been seen since the first film. But
I think fans are definitely expecting Dilophosaurus in this movie, and I think that it's going to be there, because I expect it too.
Yeah, and if they've gone and built an animatronic for it, then it's going to be more than just 5 seconds here or there. They must have a little bit larger role.
Well, the animatronic picture I saw, like I said, it was very much the Dilophosaurus we already know and love, just a bit bigger. But it was it looked like it was built for like one of the animatronics from the second and third movie, but it was also ran along a track, interestingly enough.
Yeah, so more than just a Apatosaurus animatronic in a cage interacting with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there was a scene of the Tyrannosaur rampaging and someone holding a flare, because we can't stop doing that. I wonder if that was just more footage from that drive-in theatre that we've seen.
Maybe, but I thought I heard it was Grant holding the flare.
That's going to be an interesting scene when those two meet each other again.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
if he knows it's the original Tyrannosaur, if he just thinks it's another one.
Who knows? I mean, he may recognize the slash marks on it from the Raptors, but at the same time, I mean, is the Tyrannosaurus going to recognize him? Is he going to look at him and be like, "You,
you"? Yeah.
Some angry recognition there.
Because when you think about it, I'm sure there was marketing for Jurassic World in universe to say this is the original Jurassic Park T-Rex, although it seems like they want to keep Jurassic Park pretty hush-hush. But Malcolm's got his books. Malcolm would probably know that this was the original that they had there.
Yeah, he got very up close and personal with her.
Yeah, so there's probably people in universe as of Dominion that sort of know some of those things. So we finally get a Triceratops smashing into a Jeep. Haven't had one of those since The Lost World.
No.
And we get lots of shots of Grant, Malcolm, and then all three of the original stars looking up at something, reminiscing of the lightning from the T-Rex attack in the first film. So I don't know if that's where they all meet Rexy again.
Who knows? Well, yeah, like I said, it might have just been fan rumblings that said the flare was Grant. I don't know. I can't remember exactly.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be alright. Grant pulls out the flare and Duel of the Fates starts playing. Then there's some scenes that look like a European city, which I'm guessing is Malta. We know they're filming there. Claire's jumping between buildings while being chased by what looks like a raptor. It's probably those Atrociraptors we know that we've seen from the party supplies.
Again, another Lost World reference, though, too, because that was the ending to the Lost World with the characters running across the rooftops trying to make it to the geothermal building where the helicopter was.
Yep, exactly. But it was darkness. I'm guessing this is going to be in daylight with the CG assets chasing after. These next couple of scenes we see have sparked the headlines from this story going worldwide of Dominion looking like an Indiana Jones or a James Bond or a Jason Bourne film. Just being shot in Malta doesn't mean it's a James Bond film because you got someone running on rooftops or whatever else. But okay, we get a scene of Claire and Owen jumping down into some kind of ancient tomb, which I'm guessing was just the sewer of Malta. We've seen those shots of Owen and Barry on the boat underground into Malta, and you sort of got those big granite or sandstone blocks. I don't think there's an ancient tomb involved here.
No, I definitely think that's the journalists misinterpreting what they're seeing.
Yeah,
I
hope
very
so.
Much, very greatly misinterpreting, because this is not the ancient tomb style of franchise. This is not National Treasure.
No. All of a sudden they go into a tomb and here's Rexy on the wall. She's been here for a lot longer than we ever thought.
The Mayans worshipped her as a god.
And then it's just like Minions. We get a snapshot of different times where Napoleon was using her to pull his chariot, and she was there building ancient Egypt, helping move rocks for the pyramids.
No, that was Mammoth, remember?
I've seen 10,000 BC. I know. And there's a shot also of Owen on his motorcycle zipping along some cobblestone streets, chasing again what appears to be raptors. And then he finishes off the article with basically, it looks like action scenes from Indiana Jones, Jason Bourne, and James Bond, but with dinosaurs. Don't know how I feel about that. I'll wait until I see it on screen to judge.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of adventure and action. I don't quite think it's going to be Indiana Jones, though. Probably more akin to Lost World or something like that, you know?
Yep. And we don't know how much of the films was shot. I know a portion of it was shot in Malta. So we've obviously got the rooftop stuff there, Owen on his motorcycle. Well, 2 separate scenes described with Owen on his motorcycle, so he's gone back to back to dino riding on bikes again. It seems. I'd laugh if it's the same not Rambler, what was it? The same Triumph anyway. How do you get off the island? I just did. But that's all from the Cinemacon stuff. Some interesting tidbits there, some hopes, some question marks as to what we're being described for personally. So again, there's going to be more stuff slowly coming out for Dominion as we get closer to release date.
Yeah, we're I think going to just about get into the hype train pulling into the station at this point. It's coming soon.
Also, too, I suppose, just going back to the pair of Brachiosaurs being led by a bunch of vehicles, it doesn't say they're fully grown either. They could be juvenile, depending on whether they're escapees from Lockwood or if they're being created by someone else.
True. Yeah.
That will be interesting. Will be interesting to see. So Dave, that's it for August issue of the Minutes. We're about to hit some action in the Jurassic World Minute with the Raptors going after the Indominus and then turning. We'll be back to talk more about that next week. If there's not anything else to discuss, we'll get out of here for the month.
All right.